What's up, guys? Can you even see us?
It's really late outside, but you know what? Things are about to get strange.
Doctor Strange. That, in case you couldn't tell by that incredibly stupid joke we just told, we're going to see Doctor Strange, the new Marvel movie that just came out today.
Yes. We're not seeing it right away. We didn't see it last night, but we're seeing it tonight. We're seeing it as soon as we possibly can. But we're excited. What?
They were apparently playing a guessing game for what we were going to see. Pat won.
Of course, Pat won.
Anyway, we're going to see Doctor Strange. It's gonna be pretty fun. Well, let's talk about this. This is the first action movie from the director Scott Derrickson,
and obviously he's been a horror guy forever.
He directed the first Sinister, the second Sinister.
He wrote the second Sinister. He didn't direct it because he was making this.
Okay.
And then he made The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and that's all I can remember off the top of my head of his stuff.
But that's basically it. He's a horror guy. This is his first blockbuster, in fact. I say that even though most people would probably classify the Sinister movies as horror blockbusters. But this is his first blockbuster. Also, we got Benedict Cumberbatch coming home to Marvel Studios. Which is another weird thing to say because it's not like Marvel Studios made him a better actor. I keep saying weird stuff today. Anyway, Benedict Cumberbatch, he's coming to I guess you could just say he's coming to the studio where he would belong making superhero movies with his charisma in Marvel Studios.
So, and this is going to be this is Marvel's number 14. They really haven't disappointed us yet.
I mean, every movie they've made is at least a good 7.5 out of 10. So that's what we got to go on. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. We got Tilda Swinton, Benedict Wong, Mads Mikkelsen.
And it's going to be... and apparently this movie looks amazing, so we especially got that going for us.
Which is always great when it's a visual medium. You just want the movie to look amazing. So, that's really all I can muster up right now.
I can't think of anything else, so we'll see you guys after the jump.
Alright? Well, that's over. And, it was really, really good, guys.
Yeah, it was. It was really good.
That's it. Well, let's just jump into it. I loved Benedict Cumberbatch in this movie. He essentially embodied Doctor Strange before and after the accident that makes him Doctor Strange. And in many ways, I don't know much about Doctor Strange from the comics, but what I do know is that he was indeed a kind of stuck-up, egotistical asshole before being Doctor Strange, and I think he embodied that perfectly in the way that he carried himself beforehand and afterwards. At
first, I was a little skeptical because I was sitting there going, that's Benedict Cumberbatch, that he doesn't actually talk like that. But eventually, after a little while, it was like, that's Doctor Strange.
And the thing is, he kind of got that same kind of charisma that Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark has, where he is this kind of broken man who started changing, and that's kind of the whole point of the movie. I had fun with it.
Yeah.
Mads Mikkelsen was really good in his role. I can't even remember the name though.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he's kind of a forgettable villain at times. Just like the most Marvel villains, but he's good. And Chiwetel Ejiofor, I believe it's pronounced.
All right then. Chiwetel Ejiofor was really good as Mordo. People bitch about the whitewashing in this movie, but they completely forget that one of the main characters was a white guy in the comics, black guy in the movie.
And it's actually a very diverse cast. Like, we got
Benedict
Wong as Wong. We got Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo. We have Mordo. And they actually do kind of make a joke at the expense of the Tilda Swinton thing. But it's also kind of a way of playing with expectations. Like, you would not, like with this movie, this movie's all about changing your expectation. Don't come in with expectation, to come in with a different kind of expectations. That's the entire point of the movie, of the characters in the movie, is they come in with this certain expectation of what magic is, and then completely is flipped on their head. So that's clearly why Tilda Swinton is portraying the Ancient One.
And really, there's kind of like two different themes to this movie. One is time, the other is perceiving more than what's in front of you. And time is a huge one, especially in the final big boss battle at the end. And that whole perceiving thing is kind of a big deal for Tilda Swinton's character very later in the movie, without going into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
And Rachel McAdams, she is not a damsel in distress in this movie. In fact, she's kind of barely in it, but I wouldn't cast her out for it.
She saves him. That's how little she is a damsel in distress.
And we've got, let's see, and there was a lot of, Scott Adkins was in this movie somewhere. I have no clue where he was. If you don't know who Scott Adkins is, he's essentially one of the guys who was up for Batman before Ben Affleck got the part, and he played Deadpool in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Yeah. And we got Benjamin Bratt in there, in a character that I can't spoil, but you probably know if you've heard some of the rumors.
Let's see, what else? Stay through all the credits, and it's just do it. Still amateur hour showing up. It's been 14 movies into this franchise, and people do not seem to understand. And we got to stay through every single credit. We don't care how many effects houses it took to make this movie. Got to stay through the credits.
12. It took 12 effects houses. We counted because that's how good the effects were. We needed to know how many rooms of people painstakingly have been built, the entire everything that made this movie. 12 effects houses.
And also, I gotta give it up to Michael Giacchino again. And after I've been basically praising his music every single time we've seen a movie with his music attached to it, this time he went kind of 60s psychedelia to go with the whole theme of crazy, trippy stuff that's going on in this movie. In fact, to the point that Paul McCartney himself was sitting in on a session and apparently said it's got some hints of walrus to it. And listening to it, I can totally tell that this has got some really good Beatles-esque chords and notes to it. Dude, it's just fun. And I just love it during certain action scenes where he would just start having a little harpsichord tinkling underneath the big epic music, just to emphasize this part of the fight is a joke.
Yeah. And looking at it with the climax, it's more comedic than you would expect.
Yeah, the thing is, Scott Derrickson, a horror writer-director, actually wrote and directed a movie with a lot of comedy. Also, there are a few jump scares in here, because God knows he just couldn't go one whole movie without a jump scare. But the thing is, since this isn't a horror movie, we can get around stupid jump scares because we're not supposed to be afraid in a Marvel movie. Unless we were going to adapt one of the horror stories from the early days.
Yeah, which I don't think is going to happen. But anyway, I can't think of anything else to talk about.
Yeah, I think...
Other than I really can't wait to see where this is going. Benedict Cumberbatch is great. Scott Derrickson's great. Obviously, we're setting up a sequel. And I would really love to see Scott Derrickson and Benedict Cumberbatch come back to do a sequel to this movie.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much guaranteed that Doctor Strange is coming back because, as always, at the very end of the credits it says Doctor Strange will return because of course Benedict Cumberbatch signed on to a multi-picture deal. But
then we even have a mid-credit scene that proves that he will return.
But this is gonna be a fun franchise within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's definitely the most different. It's pretty much one of the few Marvel movies that actually feels like it's contained within its own world. I mean, it's pretty clean when it comes to a few Easter eggs, other than, of course, one or two token mentions of the Avengers.
Yeah. There's really not a bunch of the Avengers stuff. There's not talking about certain stuff. They're just talk. It's a very self-contained story. It's like we're back at the beginning of the MCU.
And the thing is, while the stakes may still be huge, like they were in most of the other ones, it's still, the stakes are still set together in such a way that it would justify not calling the Avengers in on this world-ending catastrophe. Other than that, I think we have pretty much determined that, yeah, this movie is great. Go see it, which you pretty much probably were going to anyway, because hey, Marvel movie.
Yeah. So other than that, I think we're done, and we'll be back in about 2 weeks for Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Yeah. So go ahead and check out our and subscribe to our channels if you're new here. Like, favorite, and leave in the comments what you think of Doctor Strange. I'm pointing, even though you can barely see me because it's dark out. It's almost midnight here.
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, that's it, guys. Bye.
Bye.